Hey guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. I want to talk to you about what's going on in New York City with the attacks on the Jewish communities. The situation really is big. It's much bigger than I knew, and it has significant implication, in my opinion, on the Second Amendment community and to all freedom-loving patriots. Now, like you, the overall situation has been on my radar for a few weeks now, but my interest got piqued today when those photos started circulating. Now, I'm filming this late on Monday. The photos are actually from yesterday on Sunday. I'm going to show them to you here in just a minute, but first, let me get a few things set up for you. At the end, of course, I do want to hear your opinion. I'm going to have a question for you here in just a moment. The mainstream media, they're not covering this situation fully because, in my opinion, the incidences, they don't follow the narrative of the mainstream left. Instead, their coverage is throttled. Today, I did a deep dive, and of course, I did go to the mainstream sources, but I also read some articles written by the Jewish community leaders that are on the ground in New York. Again, it's a much bigger situation that I can cover in a short form video, so I'm going to hit some highlights, but what I won't do is even mention any of the attackers. I'm not going to give them any airtime whatsoever. Now, the big firefight from earlier this month is, of course, on your radar. It's the attack at the kosher market in Jersey City. Now, when I first heard the word market, I assumed that meant like a grocery store. But the attack was a series of gunfights that took place in a huge area. One of the responding officers, he said it was the biggest firefight that he'd seen since Vietnam. It left 6 people dead. And both of the attackers, they both have direct ties to the Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, you may remember the Black Hebrews from the smirk heard round the world. This wasn't some MAGA kid wearing a MAGA hat smirking at an Indian banging on a drum. The entire Covington High School incident in D.C., it began with the school kids that are on the field trip being confronted by a group of demonstrating Black Hebrews. But the media didn't show you any of that footage. They just showed you the smirk. Oh, and by the way, that drumming Indian is literally a stolen valor situation. Now, today, I deep dived the Black Hebrews, and it's all bad. So following the kosher gunfight, that entire situation, a lot of incidences have taken place in New York City since that situation. In the last 13 days, there has been at least 8 major incidences that have taken place. And one rabbi that was talking on NBC News this morning, he said since Thanksgiving, there's been at least 23 specific attacks on the Jewish community, again, since Thanksgiving. Now, of those 23, a lot of those are not blood in the streets, stabbings or shootings, so they're not getting a lot of airtime. A lot of those are punches or fistfights or physical attacks, again, specifically targeting the Jewish New Yorkers. Now, on Sunday, there was a Hanukkah celebration in Monsey, New York. Now, that's a suburb, and it's home to a significant population of ultra-Orthodox Jews. A man came into the celebration, the Hanukkah celebration, and he stabbed 5 people. Another Jewish attack. And the attacker has direct ties, again, to the Black Hebrew Israelites. It's all, of course, being politicized. New York Mayor Billy, he said that there's going to be an increased police presence in the 3 major Jewish communities, but then he went a step further, and who did he blame? Yeah, he blamed Trump. He literally blamed these incidences on Trump and his message of white supremacy. And it doesn't stop there. The Squad today is also blaming Trump and his message of hate. And today, Elizabeth Warren took a break from hunting buffalo on the plains to say that the Jewish attacks are all because of Trump. You can't make this stuff up. Now, here's the part that I really think is interesting and that has to do with me and with you. The Jewish community is standing up. I read today of Jewish community leaders and rabbis who are calling for their people to take active, quote, responsibility, great word, of protecting themselves. Some are even calling for synagogue members to be armed while at worship. Now, in light of yesterday's incident in Fort Worth, for me, this is off the chart interesting to hear these rabbis calling for people to protect themselves. Now, keep in mind, that New York has literally neutered their populace from being able to exercise their constitutional right. That stabbing took place in Muncie on Saturday, and the very next day, this is yesterday, on Sunday, a synagogue just right down the street from the stabbing location, some ultra-Orthodox citizens, they were having a ceremony to install a new Torah at their place of worship. This really is an important moment for them. Outside the celebration, members of the community showed up in kit, armed with AR-15s. The internet had a great time today talking about these guys and their show of force. Now, two important things about these photos, and I need you New York people to chime in here and help me out. First, I don't think these guns are New York compliant, are they? They don't look like it to me. And second, take a look at those magazines. They look like 30 rounders to me. Also not New York compliant. So we have armed Orthodox Jews in the streets exercising their constitutional right to bear arms, and they're doing it in response to their community being attacked. And to my eyes, they're doing it while thumbing their noses to the unconstitutional laws of New York. So where does this leave us? It's an interesting situation for me because the Northeast Jewish population tends to be super anti-gun and staunchly Democrat. Looking at you, Bloomberg. And yet there seems maybe to be a movement of self-protection and maybe the beginnings of a New York Jewish militia. And in light of the people of Virginia standing up for themselves, I think it's all really encouraging. Let freedom ring. What do you think? Leave me a comment down below and let's have a conversation. When I know more, you'll know more. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Johnny. Shalom.